Welcome back to another video by Motel Coach. Today we're going to be diving into GuestPoint PMS and we're going to look at managing room inventory. Managing your available room inventory and taking the bookings you want is a core part of a motel manager's job and also the beginning of revenue management. Let's look at our first scenario here. It's quite common to have a date in the future start to get heavily booked out. What we want to look at is if we fully sell out on this 5th of November, the 4th of November and the 6th of November will have less bookings because anyone who wanted to stay on the 4th, 5th and 6th wouldn't be able to book. And in the same way, anyone who wants to book on the 5th, 6th, 7th wouldn't be able to book. And you're also going to be blocking those longer stay guests, people looking to stay for 10 nights or 20 nights that might be working on a project in town. Those guests have a lot lower room turnover cost because you don't need to be providing fresh linen every day. So the first point we want to touch on is when you're taking group bookings in your motel, you want to allocate a maximum percentage that your motel's willing to take. If your motel is busy all year round and you take a one-night group booking for the whole motel, you're going to end up with lower occupancy over the days around that massive group booking. So sometimes you need to weigh up a group request. Is this group falling during a really busy time? Am I going to be turning away regular corporate clients that stay every week to accommodate a group that might stay once a year, or maybe it will only stay one time? So keep that in mind when you're quoting groups. Look as well, like, am I discounting the room to get a group in when I'm going to be filling up the motel either way? When you're taking the group, there's further consideration. Are they going to be consuming F&B? If you've got a restaurant on site and they're going to be taking up a large percentage of your motel, you want to ensure that they're going to be eating at your property. If they're not eating at your property, it will greatly reduce your F&B revenue during their stay. You've got some options. You can look at pushing them to stay longer, but generally speaking with a group, they will have fairly set requirements. They'll be looking to move to the next area. If that's not possible, look at splitting a group between two motels. You might have a partner motel that you work with in the town. Working together helps you share the occupancy and it gives you space to take your regulars. So once we're in the position where we've taken the group already, we're at 57% and we know we're going to sell out for this date. So what we want to then do is we can put a rate restriction on the 5th to stop any one-night bookings. That means that if the group wants to add rooms, they're not going to be able to add more to their group block. It also means any individual travelers, if they want to stay one night, they would need to book direct. Some motel owners won't want to put restrictions in. They always want to be taking reservations, even if it is one night. In that case, you can raise your prices on the 5th. That way, at least the individual bookings you do take are going to be driving more income for the property. The next area we're going to look at when we're managing our room inventory is some of the patterns in your area. Is your family rooms and twin rooms booking out during school holiday periods? Look over previous years. Are certain room types booking out on school holidays? In the example below, we've got the queen twin rooms, and the twin rooms, we've got a lot more families with children staying and they're booking these rooms out. So we want to adjust our rates and we might look at putting in some restrictions over those periods as well. Your motel might be the opposite. You might not pick up any school traffic, but you might get a lot of families traveling, and they might be staying Monday to Friday. You really need to look into your own reservation information to find your own patterns. So to recap on this point, look at school holiday periods and see what effect that has on the demand for each room type. Look at raising the rates for the room types that are of high demand. Also look at, is a school holiday in another state on, and is that affecting my demand? Sometimes in one region, another state's occupancy will drive occupancy because everyone's traveling. Another common scenario to look at is Monday to Friday, all of your smaller rooms are getting booked out by corporate travelers. In that instance, if you're always having leftover family rooms, look at upgrading some of your individual corporate guests into your family rooms. A lot of the housekeeping cost in cleaning a larger family room, the linen for example, won't be incurred if you just have a single guest in there. Let's look at a mock example. Our motel is fully booked out Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday every week. In an event where you've got more demand for your rooms than you have supply, you can make more money for your motel by being a bit more selective of the reservations you take. So what I mean by that is bookings on those dates, you might try and put some restrictions in place, or you might try and push your rates up a little bit higher. So for example, we want to push guests onto the Monday and we want to push guests onto the Friday. We can do that by putting a rate restriction in place, and if we don't want to be too aggressive with it, we might just put the rate restriction in place on our queen room type or our queen suite type. This is just going to push some guests to stay on those shoulder dates. With any strategies where you're pushing a rate restriction, you want to always balance with your regulars. You don't want to be too aggressive. You don't want to make them stay on days where they don't want to stay. It might be a case that your regulars have access to the normal stay length, but any non-regular guests would be pushed onto the longer length of stay if they need to stay on those dates. Once we're ready to put a rate restriction in place, we might put one on the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th. It's not a set and forget. It's an experiment. We use it for the week and maybe the following 2 weeks, and we evaluate how it works out. Make notes of any guests who have issues and complaints. You've got to balance customer satisfaction with increased revenue at your motel. The last point we're going to cover when we talk about managing our room inventory is when we take a phone reservation. If we have a lot of one room type available, we want to push the guest towards that room type. Of course, we always want to take into account their requirements as the primary reason. We don't want to sell out on any one room type. To maximize your motel's occupancy, you always want to have a range of your different room types available for sale online at all time. You'll find that some guests want to book the most expensive room. You'll find some guests want to book the most budget room. You'll find certain guests want a certain bed configuration, and you'll find some guests want downstairs and some want upstairs. So by keeping the maximum range of rooms available online, you'll maximize the potential to take more bookings for your motel. In the example below, we've got a guest calling up and they're looking for a queen room. you've only got one queen suite left. So you'd always try and leave that room available for sale. So I would be looking to offer the king suite or the queen room for this guest. That's all we're going to cover today in our lesson on managing room inventory. Thank you very much for watching. If you found this lesson helpful, don't forget to subscribe. If you're looking to get into motel management or level up your skills, check out the links in the description for motel management and GuestPoint PMS training.